The year is 2114. Nation-states are no longer the primary political unit. Natural resources like oil and water have become scarce, forcing countries to form large, multinational alliances called energy zones. The zones are based on the protection and sharing of resources, making regional tensions based on race and religion irrelevant. Competition for energy sources has become the primary political motivator, excluding regions with little to offer from these alliances. Leaders of the energy zones have implemented a global human tracking system. All citizens are tracked and observed through implanted body ID tags, remotely recognized DNA, and other biomarkers. While privacy has become obsolete, travel for the privileged has become seamless. Ease of travel, combined with total tracking of the population, has produced a society that is culturally liberal and less diversified by race. Rachel, her husband Malik, and their daughter Taylor live in New York City of this world. Rachel's great-grandfather was a firefighter who died while responding on September 11 in 2001. She visits the September 11 Memorial Museum several times a year to give tours and talks. Every so often, she brings the family to the museum to honor her grandfather's memory, as well as to engage with contemporary issues. Let's follow them on one such day. Rachel gets a reminder from the museum's public interface system, the Memory Bank. Today she will give a tour of some of the artifacts at the museum and make a presentation on her great-grandfather's experience. Rachel, Malik, and Taylor arrive at the museum. In 2114, the museum functions as a curated, globally oriented community center. For Rachel and her family, September 11 has become less about remembrance and celebration of American perseverance, and more about reflection on the interconnectedness of the world. Once the family enters the museum, security and check-in are completely integrated into the architecture. Since all people are tracked globally, profiles on all visitors are immediately available to museum staff. This information, combined with a localized intention brain scanner, picks up and isolates any potential threats. IBS, even over long distances, has actually become quite common, preventing most crime before it happens. On entry, each visitor receives a custom wristband, which allows them to interact with the museum's memory bank system by contributing photos, voice notes, and other artifacts. The band is instantly materialized around the visitor's wrist by a material replicator, which accurately sizes the band and adds decorative elements based on visitors' preferences. As the family enters the museum, they walk past the quilting project. The quilt is an ongoing collaboration between the museum and visitors. It aims to collect visitors' reflections on the state of the world in a creative, tangible way. Visitors can either bring a quilt segment made at home or produce something at the museum. The piece is analyzed by a material scanner and then reproduced and integrated into the quilt by a floating material replicator. This way, visitors get to keep the pieces they made. Visitors' contributions are logged in the memory bank system. The quilting project is a follow-up to the Memorial Victims quilt done back in 2006. The contemporary version follows in the steps of the original by letting visitors continue the historical narrative through a multiplicity of voices. While Rachel goes off to give a tour, Malik and Taylor check out the Alternative Narrative Center. Winston Churchill once said that history is written by the victors. The Alternative Narrative Center uses the quote as a starting point. The mission of the exhibits is to look at the nation-building stories we tell ourselves critically. The aim is to ask questions which might at first seem radical or taboo, but which ultimately lead to deeper conversations. Malik and Taylor usually find these exhibits provocative, but they go anyway because they value being exposed to different views. In the meantime, Rachel goes off to give a presentation as part of the Descendants of September 11 lecture series. Presenters range from relatives of victims to interested relatives of who were once known as militant extremists. Rachel's great-grandfather was a firefighter who died at the site while performing rescue operations. Her talk is a combination of stories that she's heard through the family and the research she has done herself. A lot of the research about her grandfather was done in the museum research archive and library. Rachel enjoys telling the story because it keeps her connected to the past and allows her to make new connections with those who have similar histories in their family. While Rachel finishes her presentation, Malik and Taylor explore a part of the museum called Open Space. Open space intuitively perceives occupants' moods and intentions, whether meditation, prayer, or simple reflection and simulates immersive natural environments conducive to the activity. After spending some time in open space, Taylor checks out the making room. This room has different materials for making sections for the quilt project. Materials can be tangible, like thread and fabric, but can also include intangibles, like embedded biodata, captured multisensorial memories, and holographic projections. When the pieces are done, the material replicator adds the piece to the larger quilt in real time, much like 3D printing. This way, the person who made the piece can take the original home, while the museum keeps the replica for their quilt. In addition to hosting the quilting project, the Making Room also hosts professional artist residencies. The program is designed to promote artwork which is critically engaged with politics and culture. As the family reconnects in the lobby, they check out of the museum through the memory bank system. They identify which parts of their experience to upload and share. Memory Bank keeps track of all visitors' contributions, like voice notes, image and video captures, and any contributed artifacts. Anything visitors deem public is shared with other visitors. Rachel, Malik, and Taylor had a full and stimulating day at the September 11 Memorial Museum, giving them lots to think about. Time to go home.